Hello and welcome everyone to yet another episode of BizCast 2024. Today with us is Ms. Priya Chawla, the founder of Grand Choice Real Estate Dubai. Ms. Priya, welcome on the show. Thank you very much for joining us, and she's really taken time out from a busy schedule, and we're delighted to have you here. Thank you very much. Um, we'll not waste a lot of time because it's Diwali, so happy Diwali, Ms. Priya. We'll straight away get to the more important thing that you guys have been waiting for as well about our leading entrepreneurs. So, Ms. Priya, would you like to just grace our audience and tell them about your journey, who you are, where you come from, and how you came to Dubai?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mark, for inviting me on BizCast.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here, and happy Diwali to you as well.
Thank you.
Yes, so I'm a real estate broker. I started off as a real estate broker from the UK, born and raised there, but my origin is Indian. You can tell by the name.
Of course.
Yes, so I studied law in the UK, specialized in property law, and I'm a qualified solicitor, a lawyer. Um, then I took the opportunity to come to Dubai to use my property law knowledge that I have. I also have a sales background while I was studying at university in England. So to combine that both together, here I am in Dubai, where the property market is booming. So
Right.
I wanted a piece of the cake too. So I'm here.
Wonderful. And I'm sure you've had a piece of cake so far.
Yes, it's been a great journey.
All right. So you mentioned it's been 2.5 years since you've been here, right?
Yes.
So you straight away got into the real estate industry. Given the fact that you of course studied law, and of course real estate law. So was there any other industry that you wanted to get into in terms of being, let's say, a solicitor, in terms of being a lawyer, or was it precisely getting into real estate, let's say, as a broker or a property dealer? Was that already planned, or was that something that you found along the way?
I studied law because my dad, he's a lawyer in the UK. He's
Yeah.
been a lawyer for numbers of years there.
Yep.
So he was helping me throughout the law degree. But my strengths were in sales.
Mhm.
And coming to Dubai,
Yep.
I wanted to be where the market is booming, which is real estate brokerage.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't really do much research on becoming a lawyer here,
Yep.
but I found out recently that the British law does,
Dubai.
yeah, Dubai do recognize British law.
Yes.
So I could take that on easily if I wanted to, but I'm very passionate about real estate.
Right.
I mean, there's only a few sectors, no, there's more than a few sectors booming here:
Mhm.
real estate, technology, tourism. So Dubai has a lot to offer,
Right.
and I feel that real estate was my niche. So
Right.
that's what I come here
So
for.
when you, so you're from the UK, and if you compare to the real estate market back in the UK, which is centuries old, and when you have Dubai over here, it's fairly new, fairly exciting. I'd rather put it that way. Is there any comparison that you can draw, or perhaps any major differences that you see, and why Dubai is perhaps a much more exciting option? What I also know is financing things in the UK in terms of property financing is much easier. I'm not sure if that's true, but if you could draw a comparison, would it be possible?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course. Like you said, England is old.
yeah,
Everybody wants new.
yeah.
There's not much land left in England
Right.
where they can construct many more residential properties.
Mhm.
So it's quite hard. Dubai is a lot of opportunities available.
Right.
There's a lot of developers here
Yeah.
compared to the UK now.
Mhm.
UK real estate is boring. I
Okay.
mean, where all the fun is in Dubai.
Mhm.
We don't have all these brokers in the
Yeah.
UK.
Right.
We have like estate agent shop windows
Mhm.
that we just post our properties on,
Okay.
or in the newspaper. They have started some certain platforms like Zoopla,
Mhm.
which is a bit comparable to Property Finder here.
Right.
But for brokerage, we don't earn much money there
Mhm.
in real estate.
Right.
The money is here in Dubai.
Correct.
Property market is booming here.
Mhm.
Um, Property in the UK has appreciated in value, but not at a pace where Dubai is.
Right.
So I think Dubai property is quite cheap compared to the UK.
Okay.
If we compare London and Dubai,
Mhm.
if we go on the outer skirts of London, such as
Yeah.
Birmingham, Leicester, other cities,
Yeah.
property there is cheaper,
Mhm.
but then the capital appreciation is not there. And if you was to rent out your property, the ROI is not there. So Dubai, you get both capital appreciation, ROI, and cheaper properties compared to central London.
Mhm.
So
And
that's
the fact
quite
that
big.
you don't pay taxes on the ROI that you generate.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
I own property in the UK which I rent out. I have to pay tax every year,
Right.
20 to 25%, and it's
Wow.
so it's quite a big chunk.
Mhm.
So is it worth me having that property there?
Yeah.
I could sell it and buy property here instead. So that's an option that I'm thinking of doing. And I think once you buy some property, it's good to just keep it there as well and just reinvest here with other sources of.
Right. Right. Now, given the fact that the market is booming and it's been going on a bullish trajectory, not for just like 1 or 2 years, but I'd say for let's say half a decade for that matter.
Yeah.
Probably during COVID, we saw the dip, in the financial market as well as the real estate market. But then we saw this bullish rise, and it's been going on since I'd say good 3, 4 years. Usually, if you go by the financial analysis of such charts, you see that there is a market correction that's doomed to come in the near future. Now, that happens with all markets across the world. Do you think that the market that we see going or growing extremely bullish would face a correction in the coming years, or would this keep growing at a very decent trajectory?
Okay, so like I've mentioned that we're still cheaper, Dubai is still cheaper to London, New York,
Yeah.
Singapore, Hong Kong. So I think we still have a long way yet to go.
Yeah.
I do see this as a bull market for the next 2 to 3 years at least.
Right.
Um, the reason why I say that is supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much supply in the market for ready properties at the moment. We're seeing a lot of population grow here at a really fast pace.
Correct.
For example, in the first 3 months of this year alone, 2024, there was 26,000 new people that come to reside in Dubai, and we could only offer them roughly 6,000 new houses.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, we still have a long way to go. That pushed the rental market quite high. 22%
Right.
increase on rents year upon year. Um, where we are going to see, where I feel, is a bit of stabilization, where supply meets demand is roughly about 2006 to 2007. And why I say that, a lot of off-plan projects that have been implemented in the last few years are going to deliver then. So we'll see the supply and demand decrease, and so the property prices, I can see them stabilizing then. But still, until then, it's going to be a bull market. That's in my opinion.
Makes sense.
And the population here is growing dramatically at a really fast pace.
Yeah.
If we compare the people that are coming here to live as families, to buy a family home compared to investors, 56% more of end users compared to investors. For me, that shows a lot of confidence in the market that people are coming here to reside.
Just invest and stay out.
So it's long term, not short term.
Right.
So I feel it's still a bull market for the next few years to come.
Sounds good. That's incredible. Nice analysis on that. What I want to know is let's take Dubai's real estate as comparison to the top three countries that you have in terms of the ROIs that you can generate through real estate. I think Dubai is sitting at the top at the moment. It's been there for like 5 years because you don't get 7 to 8% ROI anywhere I don't know if there are countries that are delivering such an ROI. Do you know of such countries?
Singapore's a bit close.
Okay. But then you have taxes there on the rental income that you generate, is there? Or no taxes on that?
No, I don't. But we have basic just comparisons,
Okay.
and Singapore's at one of the top, but it's Dubai that beats all.
Right. When you talk about the properties that are coming up and the influx of the clients are more in terms of the properties that are available in terms of the supply and demand. When you see that kind of demand and you don't have enough supply, the property units are lesser and the clients are more.
Yes.
Or is it at times that you also have less hold on the property units and the clients are more for that one property? Like how does it go about? Let's say I'm sure they because you know how big the real estate industry in Dubai is, probably a great percentage of the GDP growth comes from the real estate sector, right? So the almost everyone is targeting that one client that you're running after as well, maybe, right? So maybe there's just one property, there's one client, and there are 100 real estate brokers or agencies that are targeting that one client. How do you sort of tackle those situations where the competition is increasing rapidly, but the demand will eventually decrease, right? How would you tackle that, and how is it going? Do you get affected by that? Do you have that situation where with this one client you've got 100 brokers chasing it?
Yes, it's quite common here, to be honest. But you need to stand out. You need to be different. You need to show your moral ethics, meaning your hard work that comes across. People buy off people that they like here in Dubai. So out of those 100 agents, you could have something that somebody else doesn't, and the buyer gets to see that, and the seller gets to see that, and they prefer to work with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of people skills involved, communication skills involved, confidence,
Right.
and knowledge. If you know knowledge of the area that you're working on,
Yeah.
that will prevail all.
Mm-hmm.
So those 100 real estate brokers, as you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
um, you just need to be very different,
Right.
and it works. It works.
And how do you build the trust? Because see, A, it's not a tangible asset, right?
Yes.
B, the amount of funds involved are huge.
Yes.
Probably someone's entire savings going into that,
Mhm.
right? And the fact that someone's trusting a stranger to
Yes.
close a deal for them,
Yes.
to trust on the property and not get scammed in a
Yes.
completely new country that they don't know about.
Yes.
How is the process of building trust from point A to point B?
Yeah.
Because I think closing a deal is all about certainty, right? You drive the client from point A to the point B of certainty, and they rather want to work with you
Yes.
always. So
Yes.
how do you build that trust with them?
Yes, building rapport. So it's to
Mhm.
building that relationship with the client,
Mhm.
and it has to be at a fast pace. Like you
Yeah.
said, there's another line of brokers waiting.
Right.
So it's showing them that you what you've done in the past.
Mhm.
You can show them everything that your portfolio of what you've sold,
Mhm.
and you then show your work ethics across.
Yeah.
You show your knowledge across. Knowledge is
Mhm.
power here in Dubai.
Absolutely.
So if you have the correct knowledge, the buyer or the seller can see that,
Yeah.
and that works.
Mhm.
And I think it's a personal connection also.
Right.
And it's the way you handle the client on communication. Um, they'll be able to spot who they want to work with and who they don't want to work with
Right.
on their own merits.
Mhm.
So they will work out, and it's for me, it's quite easy to build rapport
Mhm.
because I have a friendly disposition,
Right.
good communication skills, and
Absolutely.
I build a lot of knowledge on what I'm selling.
Mhm.
I won't sell anything that I don't know anything about
Mhm.
because I feel that's then I'm not doing a correct job.
Right.
I need to
Unethical
give
rather.
that's it, and I need to
Yeah.
have job satisfaction myself.
Mhm.
I've done this job completely
Yeah.
well. So for me, it's important as well. What I'm selling, I know all the information about.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's nice. That's wonderful. In terms of the financing aspect that we discussed
Yeah.
initially about how it is rather easier in certain countries
Yeah.
getting loans and property mortgage etc.
Yeah.
So where does Dubai stand in that case, or UAE as a whole? And how easy is it for expatriates to receive such property loans to easy
Yes.
payment plans, all of that?
Yes.
We hear about Danube coming with 1% plans etc.,
Yes.
but not pretty sure how to execute those things. So uh, if there is a journey that you could drive the clients through, or anyone who's interested in real estate
Yeah.
properties purchasing in Dubai, so how's the financing aspect of real estate for expatriates who do not have banking history in the UAE?
Yes. It can be a bit difficult,
Hmm.
but then knowledge again is
Yeah.
power. So if I have a client who is from the UK,
Hmm.
I will assist that client throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
I will explain the process to them clearly. And if I don't know the answer, I'm not afraid of asking the developer,
Right.
because you should never be afraid of asking the questions to get the information correct for your client.
Right.
Financing here for an expat is quite hard, but
Hmm.
it's still available.
Okay.
If you know the right people, the right mortgage brokers, and they can
Hmm.
assist. And payment plans are very easy for expats.
Okay.
Very easy for someone who's a non-resident here in
Hmm.
Dubai to buy property. It is
Okay.
very easy. Dubai have made everything simplified.
Hmm.
They're doing everything digital,
Yeah.
so the client doesn't need to be here in UAE.
Hmm.
They could be sitting abroad and they
Yeah.
can purchase property sitting in their own home in a different country. It's
Wow.
actually very easy. If it's a cash buyer,
Yeah.
then it's very simple. They sign the agreements, not even coming here to Dubai.
Hmm.
They start transferring the money to Danube or a different developer.
Right.
So that's one of the easiest way somebody who's a non-resident here in Dubai can buy property
Hmm.
is buying through a developer, through a trusted broker such as myself.
Yeah.
Learning about the whole process. That's my job as a broker to explain all of that correctly.
Right.
And being the person who offers a service in between the developer and the buyer.
Right.
Because if somebody was from abroad was to buy directly from a developer,
Mhm.
they won't get the full service such as a broker can offer, such as myself,
Right.
because then I'm taking care of everything.
And besides, advising them in the right way as well. So it's
Yeah,
not just getting the deal;
no,
it's actually consulting them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, making sure that they're making the right choice,
Hmm.
making sure that they can afford the repayments, and making sure that the payments are made, payment methods are made in the correct manner
Right.
on time. So there's a lot that
Okay.
goes behind it.
And what kind of properties do you deal in? Are these apartments? Are these villas?
Yes.
If
Yeah,
yeah.
I deal with villas,
Okay.
luxury high-end villas,
Wonderful.
such as Dubai Hills, the Palm
Wow.
Jumeirah.
So let's talk about the biggest deal you've closed,
Okay.
if you don't mind
No,
sharing
no,
that.
no, no.
All right. So how did you? What was the biggest deal you've closed? It's been 2 years, and how did you land up that deal? Like, if you could just go through the process. Let's not name the person, of course. Don't have to.
Yes.
Just let's say X, and how did you, close
Okay.
the deal?
Yes. So it was just under 40 million. It
Wow.
was a villa on the golf course
Okay.
in Dubai Hills.
All right.
And the way I handled it, the seller was quite difficult.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of I want everything done now. Everything
Okay.
has to be done now. And so
So how did you onboard the seller? Like,
yes.
did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? How did that
No, I
happen?
reached out to the seller.
Okay. All right.
I am an expert in the area,
Okay. Wonderful.
so I know the sellers and
Quick
buyers
question on
quite
that.
well.
Now,
Yes.
how do you get to know that a person is willing to sell a villa, and
Yes.
how do you become? Because see, there can be a chain of people involved in the middle, right?
Yes.
How do you get to the end person? Because there can be, let's say, I'm the owner of the villa. Now, I don't know how to reach out to Priya directly, right? I might
Yes.
just speak to someone, and that someone will speak to someone. So,
Yes.
how do you get in direct connection with this person?
So we know who the owners are
Okay.
because, like I said, I'm an expert in the area. So I do know who all the sellers are, who lives at number 59, who lives at number one.
Okay.
So for me to contact that person is quite easy.
Right.
And then I build that relationship really quickly of trust and rapport,
Right.
like you said. Um, then, like you said, there's 100 brokers
Right.
after this certain villa.
Yeah.
So why did this seller want to work with me?
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was knowledge.
Right.
She knew I understood the market really well.
Right.
She's a high profile.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really want to mention
Of
names,
course.
but she was a very hard person to deal with. Time
Mm-hmm.
manage in time. It was hard for me to get in touch with her, get her to
So
liaise with
it's basically before she thought of selling the property, you were in touch and building the rapport with the client already. Or is it after she intended to sell that you started building the rapport and you got to know
me.
about
No, she was intending to
it? All right.
sell.
All right.
That's how I built the rapport with her.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I was actually driving around in the area
Mm-hmm.
and I saw her outside her villa. Then I
Yeah.
approached her and I
Wow.
asked her that I'm sure this villa is for sale.
Yeah.
And she said, yes, it is. So we exchanged numbers quite quick. And from then on, I started to look for a potential buyer,
Mm-hmm.
which didn't, it actually took me 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
There was probably, like you said, 100 brokers after this property,
Right.
but it was me that managed to sell it.
Wow.
I had to understand the seller quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, she was a bit of hard work,
Yeah.
but then I started to navigate around her character, and then I knew how to deal with her. For me, that was a winning point. And other brokers, they probably didn't know how to do that.
Right.
So I started building rapport and trust,
Mm-hmm.
and then she started to provide her documents to me, and
Right.
from started to believe in me that I do have a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have to the whole process of Dubai buying and selling. We have to give like formal offers.
Right.
So it was me that provided my second formal offer to her. So she started to trust in me
Right.
because we have to provide the buyer's documents and so on.
Right. Right.
And it was about me understanding her.
Mm-hmm.
I think what one.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that she didn't want to be disturbed at a certain
Yep.
time. I knew that she was very busy schedule.
Right.
She had flights from London to here to in another Arabic country and so on.
Yep.
Um, so she understood that I'm understanding her,
Mm-hmm.
and she started to work well with me.
Right.
And then she accepted the offer of my client.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happened all quickly.
Wonderful. And how do the payment plans work in such deals? So, of course, there has to be like a partial payment made, or is it like upfront payment? How or easy payment plans? How does that happen? Because you
Yeah.
don't have developers right now. You're dealing with an end seller who just wants the payment of the entire property. How does that work?
Yes. It wasn't the entire payment.
Mm-hmm.
It was 70%.
Okay.
Okay, and at this point, the seller was struggling to make one of the last payments.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a quite a complicated deal.
Okay.
But then if you are qualified in real estate, you
Yeah.
will know how to handle such transactions.
The seller was struggling to make the payment of from their end for the
Another
property.
10%.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep.
Of this
Yeah.
actual Pacific villa.
Mm-hmm.
So then I used my knowledge and experience I've had in
Yeah.
the market
Yep.
to handle this case
Mm-hmm.
and to get it across the line and to get it all sealed and
Right.
finished. Yes, it's a complicated case, but if you have patience
Right.
and you have the skills and experience, then you can navigate
Mm-hmm.
all of this across.
Wonderful. That's incredible. At last, I won't take much of your time because it's already late and it's Diwali. So, to a lot of youngsters aspire to be entrepreneurs. A lot of them are. We see an influx of youth and youngsters coming over to Dubai. We see a lot of. I mean, our office is filled with youngsters as well. What piece of advice would you give to these youngsters A, wanting to be entrepreneurs
Okay.
as yourself, or just entering the real estate industry. Let's talk about entrepreneurship as a whole first, and then let's say if you have youngsters, if there are youngsters watching this, trying to break into the real estate industry in the UAE, what
Yes.
piece of advice you have for them? So let's talk about entrepreneurship first,
Okay.
and then we get to real estate.
Yep. Is to have confidence,
Right.
courage, and resilience.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of knockbacks to be taken here in
Yep.
Dubai, but
Yep.
you shouldn't take that personally. You need to
Right.
pick yourself back up
Mm-hmm.
and keep moving on.
Right.
Yes, for and always follow what your heart says as well.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of you want to do a certain thing,
Yeah.
don't let any one tell you that you can't because you can. That's the
True.
reason I'm here today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for real estate, let's say if there's, as we just said, if you have youngsters that are trying to break into the real estate industry, or brokers that have just started up, if
Yes.
we have a bit of advice for them.
Yes, sure. If you're coming from abroad, like such as India or UK,
Yep.
do have a little financial backing behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you first start out as a real estate broker,
Yep.
you could experience a couple of months of where you don't close a deal because you're learning.
Yep.
And just to let you know, Mark, I closed my first deal in 12 to 16 hours of joining real estate here
Wow.
in Dubai.
We'll
It's a
talk
long
about that
story
as
there.
well.
Yeah. But I have won awards
Okay.
for doing such things.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have no family and friends here in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come here headstrong, focused, driven, anything is possible here in Dubai.
Wonderful. That's incredible. I mean, we don't have enough time. Otherwise, I would have wanted to speak about the 16-hour deal. We might do it next time whenever
Yeah,
you're
sure.
here.
Of course.
So thank you very much, Miss Priya, for
Thanks,
joining us.
Mark.
So that's our time for a BizCast, our episode of BizCast, and thank you very much for joining. Thank you so much, Priya, for taking time
Thank you,
out for
Mark.
this. Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
BizCast.
Yeah.
Thanks.